Chris Judge has been a central figure in New York City water polo as both a player and coach for decades. A standout at Fordham University, he earned all East honors, served as team captain, and was later inducted into the Fordham Athletics Hall of Fame. At the New York Athletic Club, Judge helped the program win 14 national championships as a player and coach, and was inducted into the NIAC Hall of Fame in 2011. He also coached Fordham from 1982 to 1989, leading the team to 5 Metropolitan titles and a Mid-Atlantic championship, and then guided the Army Men's Club team to multiple division titles. He remains active in the sport through Masters competition, where he has won World Masters gold medals and currently serves as president of the Hudson Valley Water Polo Club.
I have known Chris Judge for a long time, going back to late 70s. Back then, there was no ODP, there was no major clubs that played on the East Coast, but the New York Athletic Club basically brought Chris and I in high school. When you come from a family of, I think there's 10 siblings, you're automatically part of a team when you're growing up. And when Chris would play games, it was not about how many goals he scored or how many assists he had and what his stats were. It was about, did we win or lose the game?
Chris Judge is the very definition of New York City water polo. Having played in his youth here, high school, in college, post-college, and as a Masters player, Chris always represented New York City. He's been a formidable teammate and coach at the New York Athletic Club, and he absolutely bleeds New York AC red.
I can tell you this about Chris. He is an unbelievable player. He's always been an unbelievable player. But when you think about the Hall of Fame, whether it's the NYAC Hall of Fame or the Water Polo Hall of Fame, everybody are great players. Everyone who's in the Hall of Fame is a great player. The question is, how do they get there? And that's the thing that interests me the most, especially with Chris, because I know his history. And Chris's dad, Frank, had a big impact on Chris himself. He was unique in this way. His dad, Frank, played for the club for about 14, 13 years in the late 40s, through the 50s into the 60s. Frank was a unique guy on that team. He had a lot to say, he had a loud voice, he was a great motivator. Frank and his mom had a big impact on what Chris would do or say around the table. Could you imagine a table of 11 people sitting down to dinner? I coached Chris for 20 years or something like that. He and Scott Schulte were the two big shots on the team. When I say big shots, they were the team leaders. Nothing happened in the pool unless those two guys signed off on it. And we knew what their abilities were, and what they wanted to do was win.
But the difference between good players and great players are the ones who will do whatever it takes to win a game or to, get to the next level. He was that kind of player.
I just thought about being in big situations and from the start. I always wanted to be in a big situation, and luckily, Fordham let me do that. You get right into it. It is as much as you want it to be. If you want to put your heart and soul into it, you can really do anything you want.
As far as Chris giving back to the sport that he loves, everyone knows he does everything that's needed on behalf of the senior teams at the New York AC. He also started a introduction to water polo program at the AC, and also a youth program in Westchester County. He had the ability to switch from screaming and yelling at some of the best athletes playing water polo in this country to encouraging beginners to play and participate and have fun. It was pretty amazing to watch.
I guess it's like any other sport. You have to be dedicated to be good. I mean, there are a lot of talented guys and gals that don't really make the grade because they don't put in the time and effort. So you have to have both. You have to have some talent, and you have to have a lot of desire get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and jump in a pool.
You know, with regards to Chris, we always seem to have an ability to compete, to respect each other, but also enjoy each other's company and have fun doing it. And, you know, as you keep staying involved in anything late in life, if you don't have that recipe, you don't keep doing it. And that's one of the reasons, you know, there's so many things I could say about Chris and about his personality and stories, but overall, I just think he's, you know, he's just a mainstay.
You know, Chris has voluntarily coached age group water polo players, a local high school team. He coached at the collegiate level, varsity with Fordham, and also at the club level with Army. I would say Chris is more than paid forward, and that's some.
U.S. Water Polo in general wants to be able to find those players in other parts other than Southern California because of the country it is. And, you know, I look at Chris as one of those guys that was really a pioneer in getting the sport recognized, and the fact that there's so many young kids in the East Coast, not just in New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Connecticut, even other places playing. And guys like Chris were very instrumental in getting that word out.
Chris was the kind of player everybody wanted on their team. He could score, he could be the setup man for you, he could defend, he would play in the cage if you needed to. And Chris always had one thing in mind, and that was the team winning. That was the only thing that was important to Chris. A very selfless player.
He is going to make sure that player comes out on top. And that's what he's done in his whole life, in his whole career. You know, in the water, out of the water, family, friends. You know, the one thing Chris will always be known for is you respect him for everything he's done. And he's an honest, hardworking, blue-collar guy who just will give his back for you. And Chris was, you know, one of those guys that people know when you say New York Athletic Club, his name was always there in whatever role. You know, and that's why he's getting inducted, because he's a contributor to not only the sport, but to the New York Athletic Club in so many different fashions that have made him as successful as he is.
His contribution at the New York AC as an administrator, as the chairman of men and women's water polo, has gone probably underappreciated, although we certainly appreciated Chris.
He's like a brother, right? We grew up together playing the sport. We grew up as friends, we grew up as teammates, we grew up as administrators together, coaches. I think I know him probably as well as most anybody does. And, you know, when you have somebody who wants you to represent them for all their success, I'm honored to be that person.
Chris Judge is about one of my best friends in the world, and he's very special to the water polo community, both here in New York and nationally. I'm very proud to have known Chris for over 40 years and honored to be speaking here on his behalf. I only wanted to add this. Congratulations, Chris, on your induction into the USA Water Polo Hall of Fame.